It's the nation's favourite antiques experts.
Which way are the bargains?
Behind the wheel of a classic car.
Do you know where we are?
And a goal to scar Britain for antiques.
Act 1, Scene 1.
The aim, to make the biggest profit at auction. But it's no mean feat. There'll be worthy winners.
We're in the money.
And valiant losers.
Broken. Close your ears.
Will it be the high road to glory?
It's just delightful, isn't it?
Or the slow road to disaster? This is Antiques Road Trip. Yeah.
Come on, got work to do.
They're back and at it.
There's a shop to be at, things to buy, come on.
Traversing the Cotswolds, following Britain's mightiest watercourse.
The River Severn, which runs through Gloucestershire, is the longest river in Britain.
Really?
At 220 miles, or it could be kilometres. Kind of a difference, isn't it?
Kind of a difference. It's long.
And Izzie has a geography degree.
I wonder whether you can take a boat. We could do Antiques boat trip next.
Yep.
Oh, shush. You'll upset the swanky 1987 Lotus Eclat. They're sensitive, don't you know?
What, like a rowboat or an engine boat?
Oh, if it's rowing, I'll be on the front with the gin and tonic.
What? Am I doing the rowing?
Well, I didn't say that. I mean, if you're offering...
What a pair, eh?
Can we take an oar each?
Yeah, actually,
Next to
that's
each
true.
other and take an
That'd be
oar
very
each.
coordinated,
Yes.
though, wouldn't we?
We can work on that. That would be fine.
On the prior leg, jewellery expert Izzie was all about coupling up.
Necklace and earrings are very dainty and very delicate.
Whilst 20th century design expert Mark was seeking spiritual guidance.
And there it is, a little glass hip flask.
Mark had much to celebrate at the last auction.
That is £20 worth of fantastic quality glass.
So, the auction tally is one each, but with 3 more showdowns to go.
We haven't had a fight over an item yet.
Yet. I don't think we would. I think we'd both be
Fisticuffs.
far too polite. No, you saw it first, you have it. No, I couldn't. You have it.
And Mark now has 925 of the £1,500 he began this trip with, while Izzie has £902 remaining.
I think I bought a bit too much jewellery on our last leg together. So if I can steel myself to veer away from the jewellery.
I woke up this morning, that's what I felt like I wanted to buy.
You wanted to buy a bit of sparkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, little Mark. Their trip kicked off in Cardigan. Now it's to the Cotswolds and Midlands before dipping down to Hampshire for the final auction.
I think you are a sparkly person anyway.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll go and stand in front of a mirror then.
Today they'll be eyeing up antiques all the way to Cirencester. But first, Izzie's dropping Mark in Royal Wootton Bassett, the newest royal town in England. Will old bank antiques have the jewel in the crown that Mark's looking for? There's certainly a lot to cheer about in here.
Oh, now this I like. So what we have here is a group of accessories combined together to make one accessory, which is known as a chatelaine.
Blingy, eh? Chatelaines were worn by the lady of the house to keep everyday items to hand.
So this one appears to be silver, and you've got a silver propelling pencil. You've got a little aid memoir, so literally a memory aid, a notepad effectively. Sometimes you find them made out of early plastics and celluloid, but this one has paper, as you can see inside there. There'd be a pencil to write with and all sorts of other accessories. And in fact, the more you had on your chatelaine, the larger the house. So it sort of showed your status. What's the price on it? We've got £275. It's really smart, and I'm quite sure the lady of the house would have been incredibly grand. I kind of have a picture of her in my head. Big black dress, hair pulled back, and a stern look like we see in all those Victorian carte de visites. And I'm afraid I'm getting a similarly stern look to myself. £275, is that going to do something for me at auction? I think not.
So, it's a no to the chatelaine. Is anything else sparking Mark's interest?
Amidst a sea of Victorian and Edwardian silver, I spot a little modernist gem. I think that's really rather fabulous. So this silver pendant really sings of Scandinavian design for me, Scandinavian modernist jewellery, these clean, fluid lines that in a way almost sort of represent the flowing nature of molten silver.
He's got the glass out.
So we've got Ivan Tarrant and Ernest A. Blythe. So Ernest A. Blythe was a mid-century modern jewellery designer, and Ernest Tarrant was a Leicester-based jeweller, and he kind of tried to work with Britain's avant-garde modernist jewellery designers, and this is a superb example of that. It is hallmarked, so it's solid silver, and it looks like a Birmingham mark for 1959, which is exactly the period I would love to see this coming from. This is priced at £125. Now, British modernist silver, by and large, isn't as sought after as George Jensen silver. But you know what? I think this has got a good chance, and if I can get this for a good price, I'll be a happy little bunny.
While he hops off to find the dealer, let's catch up with Izzie. She's heading westwards towards her home patch.
I don't think it's going to give me any advantage whatsoever because I never have time to go antique shopping when I'm not at work. And I also think that Mark has, not only does he have incredible knowledge, I think he's just more competitive than I am. So I think he'll be more determined to hunt out those bargains.
Parking in Stroud, which is a former cloth town surrounded by the rolling Cotswold valleys. Gorgeous. Izzie's made her way to Antiques Emporium Griffin Mill with her remaining £902.
Ah, thanks for inviting me, guys. So, Deborah, what have you been up to? Jeff, really? No, you don't say.
She soon makes friends. She has a gift. Keys must be sticking. Get back to browsing the curios. There's plenty to see.
Ah, isn't she rather attractive? Although she has been through the wars.
She certainly has.
But isn't she just fantastic? She's probably circa 1920s-ish with that hat there. So here you've got this rather, in some ways, erotic woman because she is showing quite a bit of skin, even for the day then. She looks like someone I would like to know.
You've made enough friends today, Izzie. How much is she?
£80. Due to damage, £80 is what it says on here. Bless her, she's had a whole neck off and she's had a bit of nose surgery. She's lost a few fingers. She's had a wrist off. Blimey, she's had an arm off. But it might be one to have a little ask. Perhaps she's been here a long time. Who knows? The damage is a huge, huge problem, but there's just something about her.
Meanwhile, over in Royal Wootton Bassett, Mark was taken with a silver pendant. Anything else he likes the look of?
Aha! Now I know exactly what these are. So the term antique of the future is such a cliche, but this is one of them. What we're looking at with this asymmetric curving dish, so typical of the 1950s, is a design that I think is by a designer who is largely underappreciated in the vintage and antiques market. So turning it round on the back, it's the Queensberry bit. That's not the name of the pattern, that's the name of the designer. And David Queensberry was an incredibly influential designer in the mid-century modern period, really all the way through into the 1970s and the 1980s.
Not just a pottery designer. David Douglas is also the 12th and current Marquess of Queensberry.
But for some reason, in the antiques and vintage business, he's kind of just been ignored. I think he's hugely underrated. And what's better, there's two of them. And the price tag is £30. I'd love to shine a light on David Queensberry, so I think I'm going to have a punt on these.
Pursue your passions, I say, Mark. Oh, Steve!
Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Fabulous emporium of delights. I've had a couple of pieces I'd like to talk to you about.
OK.
So the first is cunningly concealed in my pocket here. It's this rather lovely modernist pendant.
Priced at £125.
The very best we can do is 110. We can't do any more than
110.
that.
Thank you. Then I found these two atomic plates by David Queensbury.
Yep.
You've got 30 on the pair. Is there something we can do on those?
25?
110, 25, that's 135. Could we do 130?
I can do another 5 on those then. 130.
Fantastic.
Yes.
We have a deal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Steve.
That's some good going. With £130 spent,
Thank you very much. And that's yours.
Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mark now has £795 remaining. Meanwhile, in Stroud,
This is rather lovely, isn't it? It's a food container. It's Chinese. It's made out of bamboo. The look of it is very much circa 1900.
yeah, bamboo is a miracle material used in China since time immemorial.
It's ever so slightly carved, so we've got this decoration in slight relief that's will have been hand carved and then it's sort of been hand gilded, hand painted. It's very typical Far Eastern decoration, Chinese decoration. It says early 20th century food carrier, Chinese, £110. But you never know. Might be some room, some manoeuvre in there. Manoeuvre.
Make your move, Izzie.
Hello, Sarah. Hello. What a fantastic place you've got here.
I know.
Isn't it fabulous?
I know.
The really lovely but sadly very damaged alabaster figure, which is priced at £80. Then there's the beautiful Chinese food carrier, which is priced at £110. What's the best that we could do on, if anything, on those prices, please?
100.
For the two? Yeah, I will say deal on those.
Lovely,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Let me get you some money.
Righto.
That breaks down to £60 for the Chinese basket and £40 for the alabaster lady,
I will come again soon.
Yes, do.
Thank you now. Bye-bye.
which means Izzie now has £802 of her £1,500 left. Meanwhile, Mark's trotted off to take in the view of one of Wiltshire's most splendid landmarks near the village of Broad Hinton.
Now, this is what I trekked up here to see. This is the Hackpen White Horse. And this is a hill figure cut into the side of the hillside. And this part of the country is renowned for them.
Indeed, there used to be 13 white horses in Wiltshire. Now there are just 8. Created by cutting into the county's chalk grasslands, some for auspicious occasions, like coronations.
This was reputedly built in 1838 to commemorate the coronation of Queen Victoria. As you can see, they are visible from miles around.
A magnificent sight, no question. But it's time for Mark to get off this high horse and mooch some more. He's unsaddling in Evesham on the edge of the Cotswolds. A picture-perfect place. Can Mark find the perfect pieces at Twyford Antique Centre? He has 795 smackers in his pocket. He is praying to the gods of side tables, I think. Back on your feet, Mark, please. You don't know who's been down there.
Now, that's an interesting thing. Now, I'll admit it's not exactly the most practical thing anymore. But you know what caught my eye? Look at this teapot for a minute. So you've got this spherical form here with these angular legs, and it sort of appears quite modern. That very modern shape really reminds me of work by Christopher Dresser.
Dr. Christopher Dresser created his designs for the 19th century market with principles including honesty in production and design.
Now, I really want to find this at a hot price. £200.
Hope you don't get your fingers burnt.
That's a really interesting piece for me.
But what other delights are waiting to be found?
Now that is cool. So it's a Marconi phone, and I'm guessing it dates from the 1960s. So you've got the record player, you've got the speaker, you've got a radio, and you've got a little port here for tape. Vintage wirelesses and vintage radios have been collectible for decades, and it's not just pieces from the sort of the prime period of the 1920s and the 1930s that are really collectible.
It's because things made back in the day can still sound so great, Mark. They knew how to boogie.
I would have loved it if it said dance set on it. Dance set is the sort of iconic 1950s, 1960s record player, beloved of vintage collectors and, of course, those who love to listen to a few cool tunes. But just look at the condition of this. The case is absolutely immaculate. It's got all its knobs along here, and it's even got its carrying handle on the side. It literally looks like it's never been used. Looking at the price, it says £65 and fully working. If I could do a deal on that, that's one to consider. It's a good thing, that.
Though he's not dancing down the aisles just yet.
OK, so now that's interesting. It's a knackered Edwardian footstool. It's got a tear in the leather. It's got a replaced cushion. It's missing its original cushion, but it is solid wood, it is an antique, and it is covered with real leather. And you've also got these studded details here. It's perfectly sound and stable.
And antique footstools like this have become quite the catch, ideal for perching in small places.
How much are we looking at? It's £110.
Time to talk terms with dealer Andy.
Andy, hello.
Oh, hi.
So I found 3 items.
Oh, great.
So first of all, you've got the Christopher Dresser teapot on stand. It's got 200 on it.
150?
150, fine. OK, the next thing was the 1960s Marconi phone record player, which I think has 65 on it. That's upstairs.
Yep, I know the one. We can do 50 on that for you.
And then the final piece is, it's also upstairs. It's seen better days. So it's a sort of leather Edwardian footstool. How close to a tenner could you do for me?
God, let's call it a tenner.
For the whole lot, what could we do?
160 for all 3 items.
In that case, you have a deal, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
OK.
Very generous. Thanks, Andy. Let's call it £100 for the kettle, £50 for the record player, and £10 for the footstool.
It's lovely.
I am delighted. Thank you very much,
OK,
kind
thank
sir.
you.
I shall go and gather my troops.
Right, take care.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Andy. Bye.
That leaves Mark with £635 left to spend.
Who's going to win this?
Rolling up the sleeves. Oh! Fighting talk.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Our couple have found a competitive streak. Just in time for, wait for it, nighty-night. Come daybreak, it's time for a drive to the heart of the Cotswolds.
Are you musical at all, Mark?
I love music, but I cannot play an instrument to save my life. You?
Well, I play the viola.
She says, oh, I play the viola.
Yeah, I play the viola.
As if it's like, oh, I went to the supermarket.
I know. I think Izzie's trying to get inside Mark's head here. Yesterday, it was Mark who got ahead with 5 purchases. The copper and the brass kettle, the Marconi phone record player, an Edwardian footstool, the pendant, and the David Queensberry dishes. He now has £635 for the rest of the trip.
Are you generally quite a confident person anyway? Do you self-doubt?
Oh, my goodness gracious, yes. Question myself all the time. It's a nightmare.
Now, Izzie, don't press too hard. Yesterday, she came away with the Art Deco alabaster figure and a Chinese bamboo container. She has £802 left.
This sort of unbounded sense of joy and sparkle you have. It's really brought a sort of new element to this road trip. I've loved it.
Oh, Mark.
It's true.
That's such a kind thing to say. Well, the feeling's all mutual.
Oh, it's so nice to see them get along. But this is a competition. Whoever makes the most profit from their wares at auction will be the winner. Dropping Mark before she heads off to Ashchurch near Tewkesbury, Izzie will be shopping on her own. Missing him already?
Mark is such a gent. He does everything in the most gentlemanly way. I really, really like that. So I'm going to channel my inner Mark, just try and do a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of his dapperness when it comes to dealing with the antiques and the shops and the owners. I would love to find something quirky, cool, different. I'd like to find something that puts me out of my comfort zone.
Izzie's hoping there's plenty of quirk and cool to coo over at the Malt House Emporium. Looks cool. 2 floors worth of glassware, ceramics and furniture. This place is bustling. Make no bones about it. Ooh.
Oh, Mark, did you not sleep well? You're not quite looking yourself today.
Now you mention it, Izzie. I didn't have the stomach for lunch today. Save some bone china for me, won't ya? I'm not sure she will.
I think this might be a piece of Czech glass by a company, and please forgive my pronunciation, by a company called Stroud. And it was founded in 1942. Everything was made by hand, hand-blown, until the factory closed in 2008. And in that time, they produced over 4,000 designs.
Skridlevitsa glass is usually full of colour. Pieces like this could have been made by designers to display in their own homes.
I would have thought, you know, it's mid-20th century, possibly ever so slightly later, but it's got a really good weight to it. It's got some decent wear on the base as well. There's a tiny, tiny chip, which is such a shame, but it is a nice piece. Now, how much is it? It's £10. It's lovely, and you could have it as a decorative piece on your sideboard, but of course you could still use it to put flowers in as well. It's a nice shape. It's certainly very heavy, so your flowers aren't going to wobble over out of it. But for £10, you can't go wrong with that, can you? I'll leave it there because it is a bit heavy. I don't want to smash it, but I'm pretty certain that one's going to be coming with me.
Izzie's steeling herself. Time to buy.
Hello, Vance.
Izzie, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Now, I am slightly ashamed to say that despite having 2 floors of stock here, I'm not going to be spending a huge amount of money. I found an item for £10.
Cool, great.
So, I'm very happy to pay you £10.
Well, that's easy.
Well, that was all very jolly.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, lovely to see you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let's hope it pays off. Sweet dividends, too. Izzie has now got £792 left for the rest of the trip. And now she and Mark are off to Gloucester, once a Roman settlement and steeped in millennia of history. Hey, Mark?
We had leeks in Wales. What do we have in Gloucestershire?
Oh, do you know what? I'm not sure what a local delicacy is. There must be one.
Cheese? Double Gloucester?
Oh, very good.
I'll have a double Gloucester then.
Local delicacies to one side, one building has been the beating heart of this fabulous city. One of the greatest medieval religious edifices in England, Gloucester Cathedral. Look at that. Mark's diving into the cathedral's crypt to find out more. Meanwhile, Izzie's made her way to St. Peter's Workshop, home to the dedicated craftspeople responsible for maintaining this incredible cathedral, like stonemason James Bayliss.
Hello, James.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. You're hard at work.
Yeah, just working on one of the parapet stones for the north nave of Gloucester Cathedral.
Originally built as an abbey in 1089, there have been repairs and renovations throughout the cathedral's history. Famous Victorian architect George Gilbert Scott almost completely restored it, and extensive repairs came again in the 1950s and 60s.
Is there a lot to replace? Are you sort of gradually replacing everything, or is it just what needs doing?
Yeah, we try and do sort of minimal intervention, really. We're obviously not trying to replace all of the original fabric, trying to keep as much historic fabric as possible, but at the same time replacing stones that need to be replaced, whether they're structurally or they offer a weathering, and so they can save stones underneath them.
1,000 years ago, my ancestors were stonemasons at Durham
Okay.
Cathedral.
Right.
So I feel like I've never done it before, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's in my blood to be stood here in a stonemason's workshop.
We can give you a go if you want.
Will it be easy?
Yeah, if you've got ancestry, you know, masons already,
I don't
then
know if
it's in
that's
your
how
blood.
it
So
works.
You don't have to humour her, James. Apprentice Elliot Lister has been employed to keep a watchful eye over Izzie.
That you want to be cracking it where you want it to crack. You don't want to let it take over.
While Izzie strives to make her ancestors proud, Mark's a stone's throw away with archivist Rebecca Phillips to hear how Christians and stonemasons built their foundations of faith together.
I was fascinated by this one in particular in your Museum of Stone, because of course it's painted.
Yeah, so every inch of this building we think probably would have been painted, would have been gilded, we would have had much smaller windows, so the light would have been much darker. It would have really shone and been so impressive.
This stone museum, or lapidarium, is full of delights preserved from the Norman period, when pictures and images spoke 1,000 words to the faithful, many of whom couldn't read. The stonework from that rocky period known as the Reformation too, when Henry VIII broke away from the Catholic Church.
This has obviously been up for many centuries.
Yeah.
And it's weathered, it's incredibly worn, it's unbelievably heavy as well.
Oh,
so
yes.
a stonemason having to replicate that has to really think about what it needs to look like.
Absolutely, and yeah, this would have been one of the crosses on the end of the cathedral, so it was really up there exposed to the elements. So you really have to have an eye of imagination as a repairing stonemason to be able to imagine what's been lost from this carving and replace it and put it back in.
And of course there would have been way more detail because that's weathered away, so that's
Yes.
reimagined, and who knows what wealth of detail would have been on there that's gone now.
Absolutely, and almost certainly must have had something much more decorative, much more kind of exuberant on the top of it.
Talking of exuberant masonry, how's it going in the workshop with Izzie?
I can't imagine there are that many industries that are still using traditional methods from 900 years ago.
Well, yeah, it's a real privilege, to be honest. There's still a role for a traditional mason, but certainly in the conservation world, that's where we're more focusing on these hand tools.
Stonemasonry is an ancient skill that continues to play a crucial part in the restoration and preservation of historic buildings. And now, Mark's headed to the roof to see the conservation work on this cathedral up close and personal.
The most recent work is down on our north ambulatory just below us. We've had both conservation and creation down there. So we've had pinnacles that have been replaced, so the points at the top of each wall on the top of the parapets to keep the rain off, to kind of shed the rain. But also, and much more importantly, much more excitingly for me, we've got 6 new gargoyles down there. So they've actually been able to carve brand new gargoyles inspired by the local cultures, local places.
Which is wonderful because they'll survive for many more centuries. So all that work will be enjoyed by literally millions of people for centuries to come.
And protect the cathedral for years to come as well.
And there's more work to come. Izzie's masterpiece might be ready.
Mark?
Izzie, where are you? Have you been nicking bits of the cathedral?
Well, sort of. This is the very same stone that is used in the cathedral. So I had a lot of help, but I've made you something. I have for you. OK, here goes.
Oh my goodness! It is emblematic of Mark Hill.
And I put my own banker mark on.
There it is.
IB.
Izzie Balmer. Fantastic.
You like
I am
it?
absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, what a treat of a bow tie.
Shall we keep going?
Izzie and the stonemasons of Gloucester Cathedral have etched a mark for Mark that will live forever. Do you know, she adores him, obviously.
I could listen to you for hours. You are so interesting.
Thank you.
And you're so funny.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I think you have so much sparkle and joy as
A
well.
lot of people have said I'm funny.
Not like that. I think you're hilarious.
They're on their way to Cirencester. Built as a Roman settlement in the 2nd century. Back then, it was England's second city, and today it's home to Cirencester Antique Centre.
Oh, whoa!
A genuine antique institute. Go carefully, Mark. There's fragile stuff in here. And theatrical by the looks of it, too.
the queen that I am.
You're the queen of our hearts, Izzie. Hats off to you. Just keep browsing like nothing's happened, eh?
I really like samplers. With samplers, there's a few things to look for. Is it named, dated, and the age? They're always made by girls. So here we've got Mary Rat, age 13, 1860. And she's written the alphabet in capital letters.
Intended to demonstrate skill in needlework, 19th century samplers were sometimes schoolwork and believed to be a sign of virtue, achievement, and industry for girls.
She's done a floral design here, and then she's done her border. It's in not bad condition. Obviously the fabric is discoloured. Now there is a bit of damage down here, probably from moths over the years. Now how much is it? £89. Samplers are one of those things. They were very popular. They went out of fashion for a bit. They're certainly coming back. It is a nice piece. Mark, you look gorgeous, but what are you doing?
Well, you know, there's always time for vintage fashion, darling. See, look, thinking of your scarf. Now you look like some kind of sort of, you know, antiques explorer.
Antiques Explorer?
The Indiana Jones of the antiques world.
Well, I'm going to go and get searching for those antique monsters.
All righty, I'll be with you
See
in a
you
minute.
later.
See you in a minute.
Now, what else do we have?
Instantly recognisable. I can never resist opening them up. It's a sort of tactile thing. You just want to get your hands in it and open it up. What a beautiful writing box. Opening up the final piece, I find a small label here which says Parkins and Gotto. So Parkins and Gotto were a central London company who were founded effectively as stationers, but they grew to sort of supply and produce all manner of different luxury goods, vanity cases, writing boxes like this. By 1893, they'd become so successful that they had royal approval and they were appointed to the court, the royal court. This was a wealthy Victorian's piece, but it's £175. Ah! It's coming with me.
Time for Mark to search for some approval of his own.
Hello, Tim. Hello.
Hi there.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
So I found this writing box, which I love.
Yeah.
That's got 175 on it. I am going to beg for the very best price that you can do for this lovely writing box.
I can push it to 155, but that's about the best I can do on that one.
Could we do 150 cash?
Yeah, we can do 150 cash.
Fantastic. I'll take
Brilliant.
it. Thank you very,
Not a
very
problem.
much indeed.
The last deal means he still has £485 for the next 2 legs of this trip.
So that's £160. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.
Now, where's Izzie?
Everything on this shelf, half marked price. That is worth taking a closer look at. Oh, that's lovely. It's missing its saucer, but it's a little Royal Worcester coffee cup, and you've got this really beautiful hand-painted ivy leaf decoration, and then you've got this gilded top, and then what we would call enamel-painted flowers.
You might not have thought so, but coffee's been popular in Britain since the 17th century, hence old cups like this.
It's probably the late 19th century, so 1890s. The handle that's also got the gilding on. I don't think this cup has been used that much because you would just expect to see a bit more wear. I mean, there is a bit of a loss of gilding to the rim, so it has been used, but certainly I wouldn't have thought used on a regular basis. So it's £20, but the sign means that it's £10. Very tempted.
Go for it, Izzie.
Hey Tim,
Hi.
how you doing?
Not too bad.
Now you've got a really sweet little Royal Worcester mug, or cup rather, and it's priced at 20, but it's on a shelf that says everything on this shelf, half of the marked price. So does that make it 10?
Yeah, that makes it 10 on that
Okay,
one.
amazing. Very happy to pay that then.
And how about the £89 sampler?
Could you do 50?
I could do 60.
Can we meet in the middle?
Yeah, we can meet in the middle.
Yeah? So 55 on that, 10 on the mug, that's 65.
Yep, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Cheers,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. And more Butterfingers here. £65.
It's brilliant.
Been a pleasure, thank you.
And you.
Bye-bye.
That leaves her with £727.
So this is it?
I know.
Over halfway through our road trip.
That's really sad. Can this be though? Let's not make this final. Can we still see each other after we finished our antique road trip?
Turn that frown upside down. Absolutely. This is the start of a beautiful friendship, I feel.
Oh, it makes you feel all warm inside, doesn't it? Time for shut-eye. Our two antiqueurs have made their way back to Leicestershire because it's time for the third auction of their trip.
Auction day, sweaty palm time. Do you have sweaty palms, my dear?
Mark, I couldn't possibly say.
Quite right. Too much information. After cruising through the Cotswolds, Izzie and Mark have bounded back to Market Harbour and Gilding's auctioneers, where they'll be selling to people in the room and the wider world online. Presiding over events is auctioneer Will Gilding.
£95. Are you all done? Selling then.
Izzie spent just £175 on 5 items. What do you think, Will?
The Chinese painted and gilt wooden food container is a lovely decorative item for something a little bit different, a little bit Asian in your home. This is right up your street and could do well.
Mark forked out more than Izzie, £440. He decided to pair the Queensberry dishes with the record player for an eclectic lot. But what's the one to watch, Will?
The 1950s silver pendant, the strength is in its design. It is absolutely super piece of modernist jewellery. They will be queuing up to bid on this, I am quite sure of that. It is a very stylish piece of jewellery.
Exciting. Let's see, shall we?
Time for more fun and games.
Time for more fun and games with a gavel.
First up, Mark's mid-century combo. The Queensberry dishes and the Marconi phone record player.
This, I just think, is a cool thing. Immaculate condition. It's not a dancette. I'd like it to have been a dancette. But it's just got that look, and it works. You can use it straight away.
And 18, £20, I've got 20, 22, 25, I bid. £25, 25, 28, 30. £30, are you all done? At 30.
Eesh.
Oh dear, not music to Mark's ears at all. Let's see if Izzie's check glass vase is a smash hit.
I saw this and I loved it.
Where do we go? We start at £30, only 30. £30, 30, £30. We'll sell at 30.
Sold to a maiden bid.
That sneer has been wiped off my face.
Next, will Mark's kettle on a stand be someone's cup of tea?
OK, it might not be the most modern look, but the kettle off the stand is just a little beauty.
45, £48 bid at 48, 48, 50 though, 55, online 55, 60, £60 at 60, 60, 65, £65 at 65, 70, 75, 85 now, 85, £85 and 90, £95 bid, £95 and 95, 100. £100 bid at 100. All out of the room at 100, selling to the internet, £100.
If I could melt.
Goliath pocket watch, lot 446.
Well, it washed its face.
Oh, it just melt, right.
Do you need the shoulder or are we OK?
If I have the shoulder, you're going to have a big wet patch of tears.
£5.60.
Izzie's hoping she'll have more luck with the Chinese food container.
It's a good size and it's just got the look.
It spoke to you, it's sort of...
I really liked it.
25 to start, £25.
What did you pay?
60.
£25, thank you online. Are there no further bids? It's here to be sold, come what may, £25.
OK.
5.
Try to contain yourself.
I tried and I
It was
failed.
nice. It was nice.
Let's try again with Mark's leather footstool.
Repurpose this footstool and use it for little Fido.
Later, thank you.
So hang on. Is it a footstool or is it a dog bed?
It can be whatever you want it to be, provided you pay more than I paid.
Start me if you will. Do I see £30
Oh, wow.
here for the stool?
Hey, I'm in profit already.
£30.
If that's...
30.
Is that a bit?
Yeah, to 30 do I see? Thank you. £30
Now you've got it.
I am. Excellent.
Selling at £30.
Woof, woof to that. Money for Mark.
30 quid, £20.
I think that's really good.
Izzie's Royal Worcester coffee cup is next.
We didn't have flat whites in the late 19th century.
Modest start showing £10 at 10 on the absentee book at 10.
It's
£10.
£10.
I bid 10, £10, 12, 15, £15 here, I bid 15, 18, 20, £20.
Oh my goodness.
Your internet. We'll sell them, £20. 511.
That was
Well
short and
done, you.
sweet.
Wake up and smell the profit.
I'm enjoying that.
Short and sweet, like a coffee with sugar. Perfect.
Here we go with Mark's writing slope.
Burr walnut in immaculate condition. I just think it's a stunning piece of Victorian writing equipment.
Online coming in 32, 35, £35 bid, 35, 8, 40, £40 bid, 42, 45, 45, 48, 50, £50 bid, 50. Auto bid at £55 at 55. £60 your bid, and you have £60. All out in the seats at 60.
Deal. That is an amazing deal.
That was painful.
Soften the blow. Why don't you, Izzie?
Where's that shoulder?
The
Still here for you.
and ivory content again.
Izzie's 19th century sampler now.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's very decorative too. The colours are good. The blue. The colours
Condition is good.
£30 online starting at 30. £30 bid, 30, 32. Thank you. No further bids. Online has it then at £32.
I'm so sorry, Izzie.
Okay.
405.
Charming thing.
Can Mark's final lot brighten things up? It's the Ivan Tarrant pendant.
And I just think as a pendant, that's as sort of fresh and clean and modern and fashionable today as it was back when it was made.
Online bids start 160, 170, £170 bid at 170.
That's incredible.
180, 190, £190 bid at 190.
Fantastic.
Still thinking about it, I can tell. 200, 210, £210.
Ah, fantastic.
210 will sell.
Well done, you. That's fantastic.
Fabulous. I'm really pleased about that.
Wow, the bidders fell head over heels there.
Well
The
done.
Road
Style
Trip
sells.
Last one for Izzie now, the Art Deco alabaster figure.
She might be broken, dropped, repaired, pieced together, missing some limbs, but you know, she's fantastic.
Missing some limbs?
She's fantastic.
I've got 50, you've got 5. £55 online, 60, 65, 70, 75. That's £75, 80, 85.
Hey, doubled up.
£5,
Oh, we've had a double bubble.
90, 95, £95 at 95. We'll sell at 95.
Well done.
I'm pleased with that.
I
Very
think
pleased.
so.
Not such a bad figure after all.
I think you might have got this one, Mark.
Really? I don't know about that, you know. We need to go and do the maths.
Okay.
Come on.
Yep, let's work out how they've done. Despite that big finish, Mark has made an overall loss after sale room fees of £87.40p. But the winner of this auction is Izzie. After fees have been deducted, she lost the least, just £9.36, which means Izzie has now won 2 auctions to Mark's 1, with 2 trips to go.
Oh, Mark, the tension is
Well
mounting.
done. Well done. 2-1.
But there's a pattern here.
There is.
Next time, big helpings.
Fancy a steak? How do you take your steak? Rare?
A boisterous battle.
That's it.
That's
we
our
found
shop.
the antique
Right,
shop.
who can fit through the door?
OK, well, I'll race you. Oh, my goodness.
And a bit of bashfulness.
That's why I don't like to toot my own horn.